Hey guys, Lord Naren White here, the Holy Ghost, the one true God. Back with you with the next video in my Line of God's Daily Diary series. As usual, before I discuss what I have achieved since yesterday's Daily Diary video, I want to go ahead and read you a chapter from the Bible. Today I will be continuing with Esther chapter 2. After these things, when the wrath of King Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti, and what she had done, and what was decreed against her. Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, Let there be fair young virgins sought for the king, and let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather together all the fair young virgins unto Shushan the palace, to the house of the women, unto the custody of Hedge the king's chamberlain, keeper of the women, and let their things for purification be given them. And let the maiden which pleaseth the king be queen instead of Vashti. And the thing pleased the king, and he did so. Now in Shushan the palace there was a certain Jew, whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjamite, who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity which had been carried away with Jeconiah king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar the king of Babylon had carried away. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother, and the maid was fair and beautiful, whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter. So it came to pass, when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, and when many maidens were gathered together into Shushan the palace, to the custody of Haggai, that Esther was brought also into the king's house, to the custody of Haggai, keeper of the women. And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness of him. And he speedily gave her things for her purification, with such things as belonged to her, and 7 maidens which were meet to be given her, out of the king's house. And he preferred her and her maids unto the best place of the house of the women. Esther had not shewed her people nor her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not shew it. And Mordecai walked every day before the court of the women's house, to know how Esther did, and what should become of her. Now when every maid's turn was come to go in to King Ahasuerus, after that she had been 12 months, according to the manner of the women, for so were the days of their purifications accomplished, to wit 6 months with oil of myrrh, and 6 months with sweet odors, and with other things for the purifying of the women. Then thus came every maiden unto the king. Whatsoever she was desired was given her to go with her out of the house of the women unto the king's house. In the evening she went, and on the morrow she returned into the second house of the women, to the custody of Shashagaz, the king's chamberlain, which kept the concubines. She came in unto the king no more, except the king delighted in her, and that she was called by name. Now when the turn of Esther, the daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai, who had taken her for his daughter, was come to go in unto the king, she required nothing but what Haggai the king's chamberlain, the keeper of the women, appointed. And Esther obtained favor in the sight of all them that looked upon her. So Esther was taken unto King Ahasuerus into his house royal in the 10th month, which is the month Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign. And the king loved Esther above all the women, and she obtained grace and favor in his sight more than all the virgins, so that he set the royal crown upon her head, and made her queen instead of Vashti. Then the king made a great feast unto all his princes and his servants, even Esther's feast, and he made a release to the provinces, and gave gifts according to the state of the king. And when the virgins were gathered together the second time, then Mordecai sat in the king's gate. Esther had not shewed her kindred nor her people. Esther had not yet shewed her kindred nor her people, as Mordecai had charged her, for Esther did the commandment of Mordecai, like as when she was brought up with him. In those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, 2 of the king's chamberlains, Bigthan and Teresh, of those which kept the door, were wroth, and sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus. And the thing was known to Mordecai, who told it unto Esther the queen. And Esther certified the king thereof in Mordecai's name. And when inquisition was made of the matter, it was found out. Therefore they were both hanged on a tree, and it was written in the book of the Chronicles before the king. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. a very fascinating chapter, which discusses, of course, Esther's rise to becoming queen. I think one of the things that stood out a lot to me was the way that Ahasuerus has this in like he's basically like there's so much like that goes into like the women actually meeting him, like they purify themselves for a year before they can meet him and things like that. It's like there's so much that goes into that. I was just like amazed by it in terms of like because he's king, he commands like that kind of presence with the women, and that's why it was so surprising to me because it was like this idea like he commands that kind of presence with everybody, not just women, like men, like the idea that the men are like helping to make sure that these women are all going to go meet the king and he's going to pick one of them, and it's like so much, it's like wow, like he has that kind of gravitas because he's king, and that idea being that it's definitely fascinating to me because it's like um, not fascinating. That was something that was interesting. Certainly, there's no more that's fascinating. That's what I'm saying. It was fascinating. That part was fascinating once, and then now I'm going to talk about something else. That's something else I'm going to talk about is this idea of those who, this idea that if you read Esther, you know that Esther eventually has an influence to do good to do good by way of her role as queen. And this idea she is not the king because we know that she's literally married to the king of Persia. So she's not the queen or anything. Like she's not the king of like Judah and Jerusalem in terms of she's an Israelite king. She's not. She's a queen, and a queen also of married to a Persian king in this case. So the idea is that Esther, nevertheless, is a significant figure in the Bible. Why? Because she matters. It's because she matters, and it's very fascinating to me because of the fact that I think that that's something that is underrated. It may not underrated, but something that is worth mentioning in terms of like that Esther, her story is still written, and she's not discriminated against and like blotted out of the histories because she was a woman. And I think that that's very nice because it's like it's very important that this idea that God doesn't judge the believer based off of whether they were men and women. And I can say this for myself. I will say this for myself as a spirit of God. The idea is whatever your race, your gender, like the household you were born into, whatever that is, God does not judge you based off of the things that you cannot control. God judges you based off of your heart. He judges you based off of your character. And he judges you and says, I don't look, I'll say for myself, because I'm not Jesus or Jehovah. I'm not as great as them. I don't look at people and judge them for the things they can't control. I look at them and I say, what did they do with the hand that was given to them? And so I like that idea that Esther is celebrated because even though Esther is not married to a Hebrew king, she's married to a Persian king, she still makes a difference for God's people. And the idea is this like this. It's like this idea that she's not one of the leading male figures in the story, and it's that her life now is bound to a man who is not one of the Hebrews, but she still came from that house and she does good for that house. And I'm glad that even though she ended up like having her own life, like that she was a woman and she was married to somebody who was the king of Persia and not the king of Israel. Do you see what I'm saying? This idea that she's not like I'm trying to think. She's not like someone like you would know, like in terms of the like a king who marries a Hebrew queen, and both of them are Hebrews, etc. She's married to a king who is not a Hebrew, and the story is this idea that when you look at the chronicles, the kings of Judah, and the chronicles of the kings of Israel, Ahasuerus isn't one of those men. Yet Esther's name isn't blotted out of history because that was the hand that was given to her, and she did the best that she could with it. And so I cherish that because she nevertheless made a difference for good. And I think that that good that she did, it was better than nothing, if that makes sense. This idea that, is it better what Esther did? then absolutely nothing. Yeah, it is. And I just wanted to celebrate her because she made a difference for God's people. And even though she was a woman and the queen instead of a man and the king, I'm glad that she was remembered. So it'll be very nice to read Esther chapter 3 tomorrow. So with that, I'll go ahead and end the Bible reading there for today and transition over to what I have achieved since yesterday's Daily Dive video. Since yesterday's Daily Dive video, I worked my software engineering job. And with no further achievements since yesterday's Daily Dive video, I want to go ahead and say thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe, as it greatly helps the channel. Light be with you all. Take care, and thanks again.